Watch this.
Thank you. Episode 2, man. Episode 2, brother. Episode 2. Alright. It's just beginning, man. It's just an ending.
The Phantom Menace released in 1999, which means that Star Wars fans had to wait 16 years for a new movie to be released since The Return of the Jedi released in 1983. So these people that were huge fans of Star Wars had to wait 16 years for a major movie to be released, and that's why they were just so excited for this. You can see in this video, the people that first get in can't even believe their eyes, and then when all these people get into the theater, they are playing around with each other, all have lightsabers. It's just a great scene, and this was obviously before social media, before streaming, before any of that, so fans would show up and camp out outside of movie theaters for like a few days just for the chance to get to see this movie. And I was even reading where people showed up to watch other movies just to watch the trailer for this movie, The Phantom Menace, and then they would just leave if they weren't interested in the movie that was actually showing. They would pay the fee just to get into the theater to watch the trailer and then leave. It was just a crazy time, and this movie became one of the highest grossing movies in 1999.
Tell us about working at NASA. What was that like? Is the Earth as flat as your chest? This is Kill Tony. You really do heroin?
I used to.
How'd you quit?
I got into a lot of car accidents when I was on heroin.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You were a heroin addict and you had a car? I don't believe that.
Yeah,
This was when the economy was booming. Even the heroin guys had cars and they were driving, and we liked to have them drive. They fell asleep. They fell asleep at red lights, and we got to wake them up. We'd say, "What are you doing here?"
What's the best part about heroin?
well, I can't tell you the best, but the worst part about heroin is you can never do it again.
Does this sound like somebody you know? This sounds like Little Hunter Biden. He's back, and he's getting bitten by whores in the night.
So yeah, we went to an open mic and we both saw like a dude that we thought was cute, and then we're like, "Oh, you should talk to him. You should talk to him." And I'm like, "Girl, let's just both him." And then she's like, "Okay." And then yeah, we did, and it was awesome. Honestly,
Okay.
his was humongous.
Ah, I thought you looked familiar.
Like.
Keep it gay, keep it light, keep it fresh, keep it fair. Let it bloom every night. Give it room. Never stand still. Keep your love a lovely dream and never wake it. Come on, Mike. Keep it gay, keep it gay, keep it gay. Keep it gay, keep it gay, keep it gay.
Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, oh, it's just another YouTuber talking about Star Wars again and how bad it's gotten and how dead it is and blah, 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 blah. You're right. You're right. You want to know something? If you're thinking that, it's because you're subconsciously thinking about it. Because we have to understand that Star Wars, to me, I started this channel off as a Star Wars channel, like 11 to 12 years ago now. And in hype for The Force Awakens, 2015 release date, I was just ready. I was pumped. Oh, man, everyone was on board. We all thought, man, you know what? Lucasfilm signing up with Disney, it makes sense. Star Tours was already in Disneyland. Star Wars kind of felt like a Disney-esque adjacent kind of film, So it was, it made sense. And obviously, as years have unfolded, 10 years, we've got nothing but just nothing that's been great. We wanted to see something that was reminiscent to the original trilogy. We all were promised that. But then when J.J. Abrams was announced as the director, I remember thinking, okay, whatever. Yeah, okay, whatever. He makes beautiful looking films. He's got great cinematography. Whoever his cinematographer is brilliant. Okay, I cannot say that The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker are terrible looking films, because they are beautiful looking movies. They look so, I mean, if you're going to capture the aesthetic of Star Wars, they got it right. It's what they did with its execution that was the problem. And I know a lot of people have had their issues and said what they wanted to say about, Disney Star Wars, and I'm not going to regurgitate all of that, okay? What I wanted to talk about so much is the fact that The Mandalorian and Grogu was released, and it was already tracking to be a very underwhelming box office, performance. And oh my god. Listen, if this was like a Lethal Weapon sequel, fine. These numbers would be like, okay, to a certain audience, I guess, whatever. Fucking Lethal Weapon. I mean, I love Lethal Weapon. I would be the first to see a fifth film, but this is an example. But you're talking about Star Wars, dude. Star Wars used to be a cultural event. It was a thing that everybody, you just, hold hands with each other. This is something that we were universally loving. Star Wars is something that was beautiful. You had a 6 chapters of about the Skywalker clan, and in this universe that is amazing. You've got so many planets and lightsabers and Jedis and all of this stuff. It was a universe that was so rich, and it was so fun to follow through when you were a kid, playing the video games, getting the expanded universe books, and reading the novels. Whether it was canon or not, they were just fun stories to share. And I remember when I was a kid, I traded the paperback books. We had Star Wars books in middle school, and I remember with my friend and I, we would trade books, the Young Jedi Knight series and all that stuff, and then I would give him, this. Oh man, it was one of the. Oh god, it was such a. It's something Gambit. Hutt's Gambit, I believe. It was one of the Han Solo trilogy books, and I remember I shared it with my friend at the time, and it was just, that was what Star Wars was. It was fun. 12-year-olds are not even thinking about it right now unless they see a commercial ad on YouTube by watching one of their stupid fucking YouTube shorts and seeing the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer play right there. And they're like, oh yeah, Star Wars, that was a thing. This is where we're at. Star Wars was a thing. And then I see these people on Twitter, online, who are just Star Wars fans still, and God bless them, I guess. You like what you like, you love what you love. To each their own. Don't judge. I'm not here to shame anybody. If you love Disney Star Wars, if you love Disney Star Wars, great, cool. You like something that you see something in it that I don't, and I just don't really care for it. So the Mandalorian season 1 was all right. Season 2 was a big step back with some cool shit sprinkled all over it, but ultimately it lost the magic, and that's when things in society started to get stupid. Um, it's tainted with all of that, and it's also tainted with the sequel trilogy that not a lot of fans were on board for. But then you have also another side of fans who were just like, we don't mind, it's Star Wars, and it says Star Wars, and it's close enough to get the thing, whatever. And there's your that's what Disney is making it for, is for the people that are like, it's fine, it's whatever, it's called Star Wars, whatever, I'll watch it. And it's just, you're diluting the franchise. You're diluting what made it special. You don't just release something out because, oh, it's Star Wars, slap the name on it and give it the aesthetic that everyone is familiar with, and it'll just be a billion-dollar hit. No. And it's become a television franchise, which is so bad. I mean, you went from a motion picture franchise, and then Disney Plus was created, and then it's like they just got so comfortable, they were like, just put everything out here. We'll fuck on the couch. We don't feel like going on the bed, so we'll just fuck on the couch. That's pretty much what they did. And Star Wars fucking on the couch isn't the same as going into that big, beautiful bed, and just having a grand old time, rolling in the sheets, having fun, trying different positions. But you can only do so much when you're on the couch. You can kind of do some of the same sexual positions, but you can't do quite enough like you do in the bed. And that's where Star Wars is at. It's just fucking on the couch, and it's boring. It's done. People are tired of it. They don't want to fuck on the couch anymore. They want to go explore. Let's go hiking and go fuck. Let's go into the mountains and go fuck. Let's go in the bed and go fuck. That's what Star Wars should be doing. Let's make these movies. Let's make something special and release it out there to the world. Make the fans come together again. However, it's been 10 years. 10 years. 10 years. That's a lot. It's a lot of years. It's also been a lot of bad content. So Star Wars right now is in the position where it's going to be really hard, not like Doctor Who hard, but really hard to, which I will get to here in a second. But I want to make my point here is that Star Wars, it's going to take a lot to get the fan base back on board, because for 10 years we got 3 films that feel like corporate fan films because they were not good. They were just serviceable, I guess, to the normal person. Somebody who likes Star Wars but doesn't really collect all the stuff, doesn't really invest into the characters, but they think it's cool. They like the sequel trilogy because it reminds them of the original trilogy, maybe. You've got Harrison Ford in one movie where he walks into a lightsaber like a dumbass. You've got Luke Skywalker, where he is a guy who just ditches everyone and becomes a loser on an island. But people want to say, "Oh, it's a character change. It's a difference in his character." And they want to find all these fucking weird poetic reasons. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. It was terrible fucking character decision making right there. Even Mark Hamill himself was like, "I don't know what to do with this thing, so I'm gonna just portray it just like they want it in the script, but that ain't Luke Skywalker." And you got the third film, which was like one of the worst science fiction films of all time. I mean, it is right up there with Star Trek Into Darkness, coincidentally directed by the same person, J.J. Abrams. So I don't know, like where Star Wars is at in this position in life, I guess, or in the pop culture zeitgeist, is that this movie should have been a massive hit. It should have at least moved the needle a bit, and it didn't. It didn't. It made it worse. It made there's a Star Wars movie with Ryan Gosling coming out next year, Star Wars Starfighter, which having star in it twice is stupid, but whatever. It's not my movie, but it's coming out next year, and we're getting all of these little characters, tidbits about what this character is and all this stuff. And it's from what I've read about the synopsis and all that stuff, it's such a generic storyline for Star Wars. I feel like that people don't know what to do with it. So it's the most generic story you could ever run into. Um, I mean, throw a rock or a pebble, it'll land on in the library of science fiction or action or sci-fi action. It's just it's the same story that everyone has heard before. Someone has to take this person back to somebody. It's a transport story. Star Wars is done. Star Wars is done. However, this movie's going to make some money. It's going to be a hit because the thing is that you've got going on here is Ryan Gosling. I love Ryan Gosling. I'm going to tell you right now, I will go see this movie because it's got Ryan Gosling in it. I enjoy Ryan Gosling. The director, Sean Levy, is the director of this film. And my thing is about Sean Levy is like he's hit or miss, but he's got mostly hits, I guess you could say. I do enjoy his directing in Stranger Things. Did I love the execution of the storyline? No. But his direction, his working with actors and all of that stuff, I have faith in that. Deadpool and Wolverine, he directed that film also. It was fine. It wasn't the best film ever, but it was a fine film, and the actors did what they needed to do. What the script asked for, they did it. So now he's doing Star Wars. And like I said, it could be like either hit or miss. I know the movie will look good. I know the movie will be the performances, I'm sure, will be great. I mean, you've got Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor from Doctor Who, playing a villain in this Star Wars film. You've got already me going to this because of that. So Ryan Gosling versus Matt Smith. I'm in. And knowing that Ryan Gosling is a Doctor Who fan, I'm pretty sure his mind must have just melted while being on set or being in the same movie as Matt Smith. So there's things in it that me personally I am looking forward to seeing, and it's in the Star Wars universe. But this film, what I'm afraid of is that this movie is going to try really hard to connect to the sequel trilogy or the things that most of the fans don't like, only because Disney is very insecure. Oh, we got a trilogy with a female led character in there. If we don't attach this to it, then we'll look sexist. So we got to just sacrifice storytelling and just give what tens of twelves of people want. And there, Rey's a part of this storyline. We will see the Jedi Academy. This little boy, I guess, look, without spoilers, this little boy that Ryan Gosling's character is taking, he's transporting, is to he's a Jedi. He has to go to his people. Okay, it's another fucking Mandalorian and Grogu shit. Um, but at this time, who is the grand mama Jedi in this case? I was going to say granddaddy, but in this case, the grand mama is Rey. Rey is the Jedi Knight that this character is going to train and all that stuff. And they're saying it's going to be the first Jedi, the Padawan of Rey and shit. It's like, fuck, this is already sounding stupid. What Star Wars needs to do is first they need to take about a 10-year break. 10 years, it's enough. During those 10 years, you have to come up with a really good plan, make a trilogy, do something that, like Dune, a trilogy that takes place maybe 1,000 years into the future. And you have so much freedom to do anything you want to do in this universe. Make it take place 1,000 years into the future and create a new cause, a new something, a new empire. Something happens. Things happen within 1,000 years. History tends to repeat itself in certain ways, but not 100% like carbon copy. But there's room there for it. And it feels like Lucasfilm is just so tied down to the prequel era that all they're doing is prequels. I want to see stuff that goes beyond what we know, and they're not doing that. It's like they're allergic to do that. They're allergic to money, essentially. So, but I watched The Mandalorian and Grogu. I happened to catch it. I went in it with an open mind, thinking, okay, if this retcons season 3, and I can, but then I run into a problem. As I'm watching this movie, I'm going, wait, you need to really watch the Book of Boba Fett to understand why Razor Crest, all this stuff, and it's why Grogu is back first and foremost. And that's when I went, yeah, this franchise sucks. This franchise sucks. You've become a franchise where you have to do homework. And not only that, but the homework is not that great. It's not like Marvel where you have to watch these incredible films just to get to Infinity War. You have to watch a terrible fucking series that's about Boba Fett, and then its last 2 episodes has the Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano. It's such a fucking ass backwards franchise right now, and I get that people are just holding on to it because it reminds them of their dad, it reminds them of their childhood, and this and that and the other. I get it, but I look at Star Wars like a child who succumbed to drugs. I know they're going down a terrible road, and I want to help them, but you've got its peers, its fans, looking at you, looking at me, going, "Oh no, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's bad. It's bad, right? Don't leave him alone. Leave him alone. You're mean." Well, I care about my kid. I want to see my kid do great. It's got to hit rock bottom before it even can start thinking it needs help. Star Wars needs to hit rock bottom. The Mandu and Grogu should be the rock bottom. And it's like Lucasfilm and all these bots on Twitter. You've got all these, like, I hate to say it, but genuine fans who still like Star Wars. They're keeping this shit alive by fucking saying, hey, everything's great. Keep it going. And we keep getting mediocre shit. I look at Star Wars as a kid who's on drugs. This kid needs help. It needs help. It needs to take a break, lay off the drugs, and go get help. Star Wars needs to lay off the drugs and go get help. It needs improvement. I love the franchise to the point where I know and I'm aware it's not doing great. I want it to do great. I don't understand why a lot of these people are like, oh, these so-called Star Wars fans, they're saying this is dead. It is fucking dead. Because I'm aware. I don't like Star Wars because it's just like, oh, cool, lightsabers. No. I love Star Wars because of what it was. I have 6 great films I can always go back to without even thinking about Disney Star Wars. And what I'm talking about is those movies still have the Fox logo before the Lucasfilm logo pops up. It'll never go away from me. But I could see to a lot of people it's driving them nuts. You know, like I can watch Star Wars now knowing that the Return of the Jedi is the ending of this story. Because Han Solo walking into a lightsaber was made by corporate fuckers out there with ties and who do not give a shit about Star Wars, but they do care about those box office receipts. So of course, you're going to throw out any idea out there to create some sort of like stir or to create some sort of like illusion of creativity. And it really isn't. It's just shit. It's schlock. It's bullshit. And a lot of people called J.J. Abrams out on it. Don't you think it's funny for those of you who still are like, no, it's great. It did great. Okay. Okay. J.J. Abrams hasn't made a movie. And remember, J.J. Abrams was like the Spielberg of, you know, like 10 years ago, fucking 12 years ago. Everyone was calling him the next Spielberg. I didn't go that far, but I was like, yeah, I guess, you know, whatever. But he hasn't made a movie in like 6 years, 7 years. I mean, The Rise of Skywalker was a disaster. It was a disaster that became a box office hit. But man, its legacy at the box office is nowhere near memorable as its legacy of the people reacting who are honest, who went online and talked about it, and then got told to shut their mouths because they were bigots. Oh, well, why are we called bigots? It's because there's a female that's the lead of the films, and if you say these movies are bad, you're implying that you hate all women. That's how retarded their thinking is. So I don't understand this whole fucking situation. How Star Wars got to where it's at, but it's here, and it ain't doing great. It's a fucking failure. And we're talking about Star Wars. Star Wars has now been so bad, mediocre to bad for the longest time that when you say it, it doesn't even sound what it was to me anymore. Star Wars. It used to be a thing where Star Wars, it's like, oh man, Star Wars. But now, man, where are we at? Where are we at with this franchise? Do I want to review The Mandalorian and Grogu? Yes and no. It's a movie that I got really bored with. It's not really that offensive. It's just a boring movie. And it's a movie that's made for children. Um, and I'm sorry, but actually, I'm not sorry. I fucking can't stand Grogu. It's gotten to the point where the show is not even about anything except look at these long scenes of Baby Yoda doing things. Isn't it cute? Look at him walking and doing things and going down pipes. Aw, isn't that cute? Fuck out of here with all that, man. I'm tired of this shit. Star Wars needs to take a 10-year break. We need to have a rehab for Star Wars. It needs to go through cinematic rehab and not be on television anymore. A lot of people have been telling me, have you been watching the Maul series? I could give two shits about the fucking cartoon that Dave Filoni made. This fetish that he has for the prequel era. And the fact that everyone's like, oh, Kathleen Kennedy's out. We got a new guy in. Things are going to get better. No, it's not. It's not going to get worse, but it's not going to get better. It's just going to stay mid, and it's going to be mid as fuck. And we're going to be like, oh, yeah, Dave Filoni, the guy who was George Lucas's protege. Don't mean shit to me. Don't mean shit to me. Dave Filoni is a hack fraud. He's proved that as a professional He's not professional, but he's a hack fraud. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a nice person. I'm sure if he saw this video, he'd tell me to go fuck myself. I ain't gonna ever talk to you. I don't care. You're making shit for your customers. Your customers don't like it. The only customers that like your shit are YouTube reactors who kiss ass to get free shit, free access. We know you guys don't get paid. Don't make up shit that we're saying that you guys get paid with money, because we never thought that. We know that you guys kiss ass to get free access. Those press junket interviews, those premieres, all of that shit. Your fucking goodie bags. All of that stuff. We all know that. We've known that since forever. And the fact that the critics hate that shit, that little old people like myself sitting in my room on a computer knows about that shit and calls you out on it. They fucking hate that. They fucking hate it. And I'm glad. You know why? Because fuck them. And I'm happy that The Mandalorian and Grogu is failing at the box office. I know that's petty as shit to say, but I don't care. Fuck Lucasfilm. Fuck Pedro Pascal. Fuck Kathleen Kennedy. And fuck Dave Filoni. And fuck Disney altogether. Okay? Now, they make some good shit, and I'll give credit where credit's due. And if I see a fantastic Star Wars film in the midst of shit, I will definitely, gladly review that and fucking love to praise something from it, because I miss it. I really do. But I'm not going to bullshit you guys. I'm not going to bullshit you guys just so I could get some free access and go teach at a fucking school and lecture a class about, film criticism. No, I'm going to talk to you and be honest with you. And plus, I have fun just sitting here talking with you guys. I don't need no fucking premiere tickets. That's why I got a movie theater. When the movie's released, I go see it. See how that works? So anyway, Star Wars. He did. So let's move on. Let's move on, shall we? Because there's nothing with this franchise except it just needs to take a 10-year break. And like I said, The Mandalorian and Grogu, not much to review. It's a movie. It's a Star Wars film that's not that great. But I did enjoy it more than Solo. So there's that. Take that for what you will. All right. So speaking of things that need to take a 10-year hiatus, Doctor Who. Doctor Who. The Doctor. The Doctor will see you now. All right. Listen, for those of you that know me personally, you all know that this is a show that I love. It's not only that, it's an understatement, but this show has done for me personally a lot of things that I went through tragedies. I lost two people who were very important to me at one point in 2008. And I remember what this show has done for me post tragedy, during difficult times, etc., is that it took me out of the shitty reality that I was in, and it put me there. And not only that, but you can watch the show and take lessons from it. It wasn't a show that was telling you how to think, it just made you think. Very much like Star Trek. And what I miss about Doctor Who is that when Jodie Whittaker stepped in to portray the Doctor, not only was it a time where they decided to do a political move and say, let's put in a female doctor. Well, why didn't you guys do that 10 years ago? Or why didn't you guys think about that instead of Matt Smith, make the 11th? Because it was all disingenuous virtue signaling. So Donald Trump became president. Oh, shit. We got to get a female doctor in because that's what's going to change the world. No one fucking watched the show anyway. When Capaldi left, we all knew, okay, what are you guys going to do with this? Moffat's out, Chinball's in, Capaldi's out, Whitaker's in, Murray Gold's out, and some fucking Samaje Chinkimbo or whatever his name is the composer, which sucked because all her music in that era was just nothing but ambiance. Whereas Murray Gold has themes, music for every single situation. Every character gets a theme, and it's brilliant. It makes the world feel real and lived in. And now all of those elements also were brought back when Ncuti Gatwa became the Doctor. But what suffered from Russell T Davies coming back was the fact that he decided to do Doctor Who with an agenda. Doctor Who, but let's do allegorical trans storylines. Doctor Who, but let's bring in allegorical racist storylines. And that's not what the show was. And I get your intent, but you're doing it very horribly. And what Doctor Who did before was that with Russell T Davies for his first 4 seasons, you could tell that the BBC was handcuffing him just a little bit with some zip ties, because you could tell that this was a man who just wanted to just tell good science fiction stories about monsters and aliens and the Doctor and his hot companion. But you could tell the BBC was like, no, none of that gay shit. Don't put none of that gay shit. Remember, this is a show that little boys watch and they look up to as a male role model and have fun and put themselves in. You want a female Time Lord? You got female Time Lords from the old era. We can take their characters and spin them off into other shows. Or you could just make your own goddamn science fiction show where you could put as much gay shit as you want. You could put as many trans allegory storylines, or fuck it, just put trans people in it. Make your main character trans. How about that? So no, but he wanted to take something that already existed, that millions of people loved and cherished and held dear to their hearts. A show that lasted for 60 some years now. I think we're on like 63, 64 years. And turn it into something it's not. Why? Because you have a vendetta of some sort, because your husband died and now you're back onto the scene. Now you want to write some angry fucking shit to all these straight white males and shit. Get fucked, Russell T. You're an evil son of a bitch for doing that, not only to a franchise, but if that's how you think, dude, you're mentally ill and you need fucking help. But you're surrounded by yes people, so they're not telling you that because they don't want to lose their jobs. That's how fucked up you are. So the thing is that Russell T Davies, he's the worst thing that's ever happened to Doctor Who right now. He brought it back, but that's only because he had a team of people that were like, again, they were like, like, hey, no, just step behind the line there. No, don't go too much here, But now, got with Disney, the BBC is different now, so it's like he had all the range. He had all carte blanche, everything. It was all him. So, and this is what we got. And now the show's dead. And now they're thinking about, well, we got a Christmas special. We left off with the Doctor wearing his fucking skirt and stepping out of the TARDIS. And when he steps out of the TARDIS, he's all looking at the Star of David, and he's like, joy to the world and shit. And then he regenerates into another Doctor, and the face is Billie Piper's Rose. And it was the dumbest fucking ending because it looked like a gimmick. It was like the face just appeared. She looks at the camera and she's like, hello. And then the credits roll. What the fuck is this? And then they say, well, the Christmas special's coming out next year. Really? Really? Because you got a short amount of time. It takes about 1.5 years to get these Christmas specials done. There's no way in hell they're going to be done by December. I already know it's not going to happen. So they're saying, well, it's going to be on Easter. I don't want to see a Christmas special on Easter. That's the whole point of the Christmas specials. Then I hear that Russell T Davies is coming back to do it, and I have no interest in it. This show needs to take a break, and it needs to hit the reset button and not really like retell the story that was done for 60 years. But I would have it take place at some point down the road, years ahead, and just tell a story there. Tell a story that's fresh. Tell a story that seems like somebody hasn't watched Doctor Who before. You don't necessarily have to start off with the companion. I always said that it would be a great thing to have a storyline where you would have like a guy who has no idea what the hell's going on, who he is. He's just some Joe Schmo, but has these weird dreams. Has these dreams that he had this life, this thing, but it turns out it's true. And then you could sprinkle in, Clara. You could sprinkle in your Rose. You could sprinkle in your Martha. Telling this person who they are, and then finding some sort of Gallifrey magic, something to remind them that they are the Doctor, to like bring their memories back and shit like that. And then there you go. You can kind of go off and start off with this guy who's the Doctor and make him like, I don't know. I pictured the guy from season 3 of Picard who played Crusher's son, Jack. You would be a fantastic doctor, or Chiwetel Ejiofor, or get fucking Carl Urban. You know, and I know a lot of people are like, "What? They're two alpha males." Yeah, that's the whole fucking point. You have to get someone who's charming, someone who's funny, somebody that like women look at and go, "Fuck, I want to be with that man." And guys look at that, go, "I want to be that guy." You know, a smart scientist, a time traveling scientist with a hot companion, and they go on adventures together and fight monsters and aliens, and with a really cool storyline, thread that's going on throughout the season, has some character development, shit like that. How fucking hard is it to do that? Really, how hard is it to do that? But no, we have to have a doctor at a gay club, and we have to make sure that when he talks to Ruby, that it's not too romantic and all. It's just like, get the fuck. Just make Doctor Who. Make Doctor Who. That's all. It's easy as shit. So, but hey, what do I know? What do I know? But all right, with Doctor Who, you've got actors don't even want to. There's reports that there are actors who are not even wanting to play this character. You imagine the baggage that you have to carry from Jodie Whittaker and Ncuti Gatwa. And I have respect for Ncuti Gatwa because he kind of made fun of himself. He kind of made fun of himself on the UK version of SNL. I think it was a couple weeks ago where he was talking about millions of you know me from Sex Education, but only 12 of you only know me as Doctor Who, which is what explains why I cried a lot. And I thought that was fucking so on. Just it was great. I was like, that's awesome. I'm glad that he said that. I'm glad that people are aware that it sucked. It sucked, and I'm sure that Russell T is out there going like, Twitter's evil. Everyone's evil except me. My stories are the best. I could change the world, and blah 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 blah. You fucked up an entire franchise. You fucked up a lot of shit for everyone. I'm shocked that they even went through with the Doctor Who proms like 2 years ago. Admit it was great. Let's do it so successful. Let's get everybody on board for this Doctor Who concert. Oh, I get it. It's because they're celebrating a lot of the older shit, and that's why people went. They didn't fucking care. You imagine if it was just all Ncuti Gatwa's era, nobody would show up. So, or Jodie Whittaker's, you'd have like 13 people show up. Get it? Anyway, so I don't know. It's just I don't know. These franchises are just fucking tanking, man. And then you've got Star Trek. Sorry, I had to get something. Star Trek, which I love, a little bit above Star Wars actually. Star Trek is not in a good place. The Starfleet Academy is just ended. They've got another season coming out soon. I'm shocked that they're going to release that, but whatever. Star Trek to me has been, it'll always be beautiful. Star Trek is wonderful. Star Trek is life. And you've got so much content. And Star Trek is a television franchise that went into films, but honestly, their television stuff is far superior than their motion pictures. However, a lot of their films are good. They're good, but the shows are better. And there's so many more hours of television shows of Star Trek. It's great. So it's like it feels like it's never ending until you hit Robert Kurtzman Star Trek, which is everything from 2017 on. Actually, I would argue and say anything that's from the J.J. Abrams moving forward is all crap Trek. But I'll admit, I did like that first Star Trek film. I thought it was fun. It's got a stupid villain, but I don't care. I still liked it. It was fine. But it has problems. Major fucking problems. But I still liked it. I don't hate it. But anyway, so with with Star Trek, it's Star Trek is fucking dead. But it has a chance to come back. Because what Star Trek has that Star Wars doesn't, that Star Wars tries to pretend it does, but it doesn't, is that Star Trek is not just about one ship and one crew. It's about its universe and Starfleet and the people who are in Starfleet, the crews, their ships, all of that stuff. You could always follow a ship's crew and just travel with them for 6 seasons. And you will probably get a lot of compelling storytelling. Unlike Star Trek Discovery, where it's the same premise, but the characters are written terribly. They're written generically. They are written as if they were characters in the 20th century, not even the 21st. And it takes place in the 23rd century, at least better half of the show. Um, but the show suffers from the lack of character development, the lack of, you know, intriguing characters. And all they do is just present these ideas that, unfolds into tears. It always unfolds into something that ends up with a scene where people are crying. It's a show that literally just wants to display, look how good this person can cry on camera. And that's all it was. And the storylines were stupid. The science and the tech of it was so stupid. I swear, if I know that they did this, I know that the writers in there were like, oh, who cares if the tech is stupid? Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care if it makes sense. That word verisimilitude definitely exists for a reason. It's because when you write stuff like, let's say, Star Trek the Motion Picture, most of the dialogue about the Enterprise and all of that stuff, it's not even fucking real. But when you're delivering lines and you're delivering half of science fact within a science fiction moment, it makes the audience believe in that. And you will have somebody always, there's never a time where there isn't. You will always have somebody there who works or works closely with the subject matter that you are watching. Space. If somebody who works for space or studies astrology or is obsessed with astrology at their home, but they're not an astrologist, they are going to call you out on your shit. And listen, I'm not a scientist and all that stuff, but I understand that when I watch Star Trek Discovery and I'm half of the dialogue, I'm really rolling my eyes because it sounds ridiculous. I mean, if you were to have writers from the next generation come in to take over these scripts, I would buy it because they would add an element of you know realism to this. You know what I'm saying? Into what we're talking about, the warp core and the engineering and all that stuff. I mean, it's I don't know, like it's like the writers of Star Trek were like picked out of a room um of activists with septum rings and said, "Here, you know Star Trek, right? Well, based off what you know from like memes and stuff, here, write a story for an entire season." And that's pretty much what they did. Robert Kurtzman doesn't like Star Trek. I don't care how many times he sits there and pretends to like it when he's getting an award. Of course, you have to say you like the shit you're doing. Then you'll just lose everyone. But this guy does not know what the fuck he's doing. He doesn't understand this franchise. And I get that the actors like Robert fucking Picardo, Jerry Ryan, and all of them, they're all company people. They all want to still be hired. So they're going to talk and act professional, I guess, and in line with the studio heads and all that stuff. So when you got Robert Picardo, who's defending Starfleet Academy, to I mean, he was defending that shit only because to find out that Star Trek, he doesn't get work. We don't see him in shit except Star Trek Voyager conventions and now this. So I'm sure he was like, "Oh my god, I'm in this show. I'm back, baby. I'm back." Not only that, am I playing the same character? I'm back. And then, your deal was you're going to get a spin-off show about your character, something that the fans would like, right? Cuz it's Voyager, baby, right? Okay. Well, that's why he was also shit talking to the customers and also defending this show, thinking that that was going to happen. No, the show gets canceled and he was bitter as fuck. He got quiet on the internet. Your series has just been flushed down the fucking toilet, and your spin-off series is following as well. Star Trek Starfleet Academy was the turd that you see going into the toilet, and that spin-off was the piss that follows with. So there goes Robert Picardo's time in Star Trek. See what happens when you talk shit, sir? Even in the Hollywood business, in the Hollywood game, uh, you ask stupid questions, you win stupid prizes. So But yeah, Star Trek does have a chance to come back. All it takes is just maybe one good movie, one great season of television, and then you start from there. But it's definitely not going to come back from 0 to 60 and like that. You got to take time. You just gotta fucking do it again. You just got to take the time and get people back on board. Stop trying to recreate Spock and Kirk and Picard and Riker and Data and Worf. Stop trying to recreate that and just do something that is original and fun and engaging. Engage. So, oh my gosh. Anyway, so, all right. So I just got done watching because I'm rewatching The Boys. I know a lot of people are like, "Come on, bro! Like, why? It's a fucking TDS show, man. It should be called TDS the series." Listen, I understand all that, but man, we just got done watching The Boys season 1, and man, I was watching. It's such a great season of television. I love it. The acting, Anthony Starr, Carl Urban, Jack Quaid, everybody involved in that show. They were so good. Season 2, yeah, Stormfront. I get it. Yeah, I want to see this. I wish I could see this series be done in a different time, like the '90s. Wonder what this show would have been. Probably would have been better. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I've seen the spoilers already, so you guys can have fun in the comment section or whatever, talking about the boys and all that stuff. But it's just television to me. It's like I gotta watch out what I'm watching because then you'll end up finding yourself stuck. Even if it's not good, you still want to see the ending of it and see the outcome. But then at the end of that, you'll be like, I'm glad I got to see all of it. Now I'll never get that time back. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that. So just gotta watch out. I also was reading about also reading and listening about Tom Hardy, how he was fired on the set of not fired on the set, but he was fired and not coming back for season 3 of Mobland. So what does this mean for season 3? I have no idea. I really don't. However, Tom Hardy was very important to that show. So I'm curious how they're going to try to resolve it. But from what I've read and from what I've heard, I don't know if this is a fun fact for you Tom Hardy fans out there, Deb. So Tom Hardy was in a movie called Star Trek Nemesis. Rated PG-13, December 13th in theaters everywhere. I remember it came out the same day as Made in Manhattan with Jennifer Lopez and Ray Fiennes. And Made in Manhattan was the #1 movie that weekend. Because that's when everyone was like, yeah, Star Trek, it's kind of dead. So, but yeah, Star Trek Nemesis starred Patrick Stewart and Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy was the villain of Star Trek Nemesis. He played the clone of Captain Jean-Luc Picard, a younger version of him, and I thought he did fine. He was a cool villain. He was a very mustache twirly villain, but I still liked him in it. It was great. There's so many good moments in that film that, as a Star Trek fan, I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool, man. People talk shit on this movie for so many years until Star Trek Discovery and Academy and all this shit came out. People were like, I am so sorry that I was very harsh on you, Star Trek Nemesis. But you're still not a good movie. But I thought it was okay. It's a fun film. I like it. It's just going to my point. Patrick Stewart, at the time, wasn't very fond of Tom Hardy. He even said, he said something like along the lines like, I worked with someone who was very weird. A little bit weird, but whatever. And I've heard stories about Tom Hardy on how he's kind of difficult to work with. I know it sounds like a cliche thing to say about somebody in Hollywood who's not really fun to work with, difficult to work with. But yeah, I've heard stories about him. So when I heard about Mobland, I was like, uh-oh, what's this about? And no one said really anything except a bunch of whatever here's and there's, I guesses. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But then come to read more about what could have happened is that I heard that he was not begging, but asking people to revise the scripts to rewrite certain things, all that stuff, and what have you. Um, Showing up late to work, all that stuff. So all of that builds up to being a difficult person to work with. And what this does, and what's going to suck for him, and same thing. I heard stories from Mad Max. Him and Charlize Theron never got along. All this shit. I understand that Edward Norton is kind of on the same path. We didn't see Edward Norton work for a long while because he was difficult to work with. And when you have that attached to you, it's kind of a career suicide. You might want to start shaping the fuck up, Tom, because it's not going to end up getting any easier. You're not a rebel, you're an actor. You pretend for a living. You're an adult pretender. So if you're going on set acting pretentious, like this is the most important thing that has ever existed that you will ever do, actors need to stop with that shit. You literally lie for a living. You pretend. You pretend. You are literally like, oh, I'm reading a line. Now I have to say it back to somebody in front of a camera. You're not changing the world, guys. You guys literally are there to entertain. And unfortunately, I know that sounds bad and like it totally sounds like I'm just like shitting on your careers. But that's really what it is. Because you guys like to shit on others. So what do you all do? Pretend. Pretend for a living. I know actors who are struggling to make it, at least in the business, and actors out there who are actually working. They're not pussies. They'll fucking be like, yeah, we pretend for a living. That's what we do. That's why we chose to do this, because it's fun. Not because, oh, it reaches into my soul. Shut up. So anyway, so yeah, but I don't know. It just sucks. It just sucks because Mobland is a good series. It's one of those shows when you're watching, you're like, all right, television, baby, we're back. And then it's like, oh shit, got it. So, but anyway, there's all this stuff about Marvel, Spider-Man coming out. Saw the Punisher episode that came out, the new one. I think it was like 45 minutes long. I thought it was all right. It was all right. It was pointless, but it was all right. But Spider-Man's coming out in July 31st. And I can't wait because I love Spider-Man. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I almost said Tom Hardy. I would love to see his Spider-Man with Tom Hardy's Venom, but we'll never get that. We'll never get that. That whole universe is done. And with Spider-Man coming out, my question for you guys is, do you think that this will beat Supergirl? Or do you think Supergirl will beat Spider-Man? Or do you think they will kind of be on the same path here? You know? 6, 7, 6, 7. Yeah, I know, because that's what y'all are probably thinking right now when I did this. Or I'm just juggling boobs. Boobies with small nipples. Anyway, um, yeah, Supergirl. The lack of marketing for that is just it's wild. Honestly, I know Spider-Man will destroy Supergirl. But with Supergirl though, my question is what is going on with Warner Brothers? Warner Brothers and DC Comics. DC Studios, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? And I'm going to end it with this because DC, last year you couldn't go anywhere without seeing anything Superman. Okay. I don't see anything about Supergirl. And around this time last year, I started seeing Superman billboards on benches in LA. I started seeing Superman things in Target and all that. I mean, everywhere. You could not go anywhere without seeing that stupid fucking James Gunn version of Superman's logo. Okay. I don't care if it's from the Red Sun. I hate it. I don't like his suit. I fucking hate the suit. But whatever. It's besides the point. Couldn't go anywhere without seeing a Superman logo. Supergirl has the same logo, same everything. I don't see shit from her. And the thing is that this movie is, I'm the demographic, people who are fans of the character who love Kara, uh, this is for you guys. We are the demographic that this is supposed to attract. It's not getting me. It's not getting me at all. Millie Alcock, she's a great she's great. Okay. She's a she's a good actress. She's a great actress, okay? She's great at what she does. I love her work in Game of Thrones. The stuff that she said about Christian dads and all this stuff, it's just another um version of an actor uh pulling the full Rachel Zegler by talking too much and saying the wrong thing and saying the thing that you're not supposed to, because the thing that you're saying is you are taking the demographic that you are supposed to attract and you're pushing them away. Because now you've got, well, if you get rid of the people like myself who don't want to see this shit, who do you got left? The normies. Do you think the normies are going to come out and flock to go see Supergirl? This movie is going to flop. But there are people out there, which is why I asked that question, that genuinely believe and truly think Supergirl might do as well as Spider-Man. I don't know about that, guys. I don't know about that. Supergirl has been lacking the marketing. Yeah, you've got Jason Momoa as Lobo, but this is a Supergirl film. Are we really supposed to be like, oh, you know that side character? That's really what it's about. Let's focus on that person. It seems fucked up. Um, and plus you're adapting a story that not a lot of people liked. Not a lot of people liked Woman of Tomorrow, let alone Tom King and his writing. The dude's got like mommy issues, and you can clearly tell in his writing. And then when you find out about the person, um, yeah, it makes sense. It's not a good book. It's not a good story. It just isn't. I don't understand why this was the thing that everyone was like, this is the story that we have to have on screen. It's like everyone's obsessed with that. There's tons of other Supergirl comics from the 80s, from the 90s that you can adapt and it would be better. I really don't get it. James Gunn running the DC universe is becoming a joke now. Because when you run a DC universe, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. But just maybe, okay? Maybe you might want to start off your DC universe with, okay, Superman, not Creature Commandos. You want to start, look, James Gunn is somebody who's like, if I do this, I'm like thinking outside the box and I'll be different and it'll be great. And then my way will be like the way. No, shut up. Stop being weird. Don't bring your weird shit into this. This is the DC universe. DC is bigger than Zack Snyder, James Gunn, and anybody, me, you, who's watching, all of that. DC has existed since fucking last century, okay? For decades. The late 30s, Detective Comics. There is James Gunn handling the DC universe is like a 12-year-old starting a car for the first time, and everyone's like, well, you know, we love his dad, so we'll trust him driving this car. And he's driving the car like shit, bumping into trash cans and fucking hitting the mailboxes and all that stuff. But then parks and they go, well, it's just a couple of trash cans and a couple of mailboxes. That's what James Gunn is. Everyone's afraid to just not like him anymore, or they're just afraid to just really criticize him because he's James Gunn. Well, guess what? He only made 1.5 good films, and that's pretty much it. Super and Guardians of the Galaxy. That's pretty much it. The rest, he's just James Gunn. What the fuck are you doing releasing a Clayface movie right now? A B-list fucking Batman villain. Like, without Batman. Like, where, what the fuck? Okay, so here's my DC universe. Call me crazy. Call me crazy, but this is what I would do. Get ready for this. I would start off with a Superman movie. Then you go into a Batman movie. Then you do a Superman 2. Then you get your Wonder Woman film. Then you release a Green Lantern movie or series. And then you release The Flash. And then The Flash is the segue into your first Justice League film. How fucking hard is it to do that? And in your Justice League movie, you can introduce the Martian Manhunter, you can introduce more characters, and then they can get their own solo films after that. And then, boom, guess what happens? Phase 2. Then you can start doing your Clayface, your Supergirls, your B-list characters and shit. No, we got Creature Commandos, Superman, now Supergirl, and fucking Clayface without a Batman in it. This universe is a disaster. And I see people posting shit about it and all this stuff. And you got Lanterns coming out. And Lanterns is a show that's afraid to be a superhero show because they can't even call it the Green fucking Lantern. So they call it Lanterns. And then they got Hal Jordan looking like someone's dad who's been on a fucking 72-hour binge to come in and all. Like, you can't even give him a proper costume. This show is so fucking retarded looking. Like, it's true detective with Green Lantern. That's dumb. That is dumb. It's like you're going back to making shit that, like, in the 2000s, like they were too scared to make an X-Men movie. So instead of giving them their proper uniforms, we had to give them leather jackets. Guys, if you're in a comic book universe, don't be afraid to go full comic book universe. It's that fucking simple. It's that fucking simple. So it's just I don't get it. I really don't get the thinking on these people, but it is what it is, and this is where we're at. Clayface looks good. I mean, it looks like that's what a Clayface movie looks like, but dude, you can't tell me that, hey man, this universe is great. No, it's off to a disastrous start. We haven't even gotten a Batman in it. Why? Because James Gunn his ego is so huge. He's so obsessed with putting a Batmite in his film, so he will sacrifice not putting a Batman or Robert Pattinson's universe that's already fucking awesome and rich, and you've got the Penguin series that attaches to it that made that universe even greater, and integrate that into your existing Superman movie, and therefore you already have a Batman. But no, he's like, I gotta be weird, I gotta have a Batmite, so therefore I gotta create a whole new Batman, a whole new universe, whole new fucking, rogues gallery and shit. Fuck money. Why do I need money? I could just put Matt Reeves' universe on its own and have that be a successful entity and sit here and wonder why my Superman movie and Supergirl doesn't work. Here's the thing. James Gunn sucks. That's pretty much it. He should stick to directing and not be the CEO of anything because he sucks ass at it. And listen, you could say shit about Snyder all you want. I'm not the biggest Zack Snyder fan at all. In fact, I think most of his movies are fucking terrible. But he had a vision and he had a point and he knew where to start. You started off with Superman, you continued with Batman, and you got Wonder Woman. The trio, the Trinity. He was smart about that. That was a smart move. Dude, I want to see Lois have Batman's child? No. Fuck no, that's terrible. But I will say Zack Snyder had a vision, whereas James Gunn just wants Batmite and his wife and all of his shit. Okay, so here's Batmite and here's his wife. He's got to find ways to put her in things and put him in. Oh, Batmite, he's special for my Batman movie. So because I got to be James Gunn and be weird, so I got to put Batmite in it. Fuck Batmite. I hate Batmite, and I don't like James Gunn's vision of the DC universe. It's trash. Superman wasn't even that great of a film. It was like Superboy with diaper rash, and it was fucking terrible. The only thing I liked out of that entire movie, for the most part, was Crypto. I thought Crypto was adorable, and that's only because I love dogs. And speaking of, I got these two legends here because these two were taken from me earlier this year. That was the thing that fucked me up for the most part of this year. And I have always talked about my dogs, my babies, my children, my fur children, throughout my videos and all that stuff. I even have them in there. And so, just not having them here physically anymore, it sucks. It's terrible. It's the worst thing that any dog owner can go through. But their their legacy, their life, their souls, they live on inside of me. And obviously here, they're always going to be in the background no matter what. In life, after life, They're in some other dimension having fun right now, just waiting for me. They've got all the sticks, they've got all the bones, and they got probably the coolest fucking doghouse ever. That they don't need my ass to fucking help them. They pretty much run themselves. So, but still waiting for me there, and one day I hope I get to see them again. So, but speaking of that, yeah, crypto. I love dogs. I love dogs, and that's the only thing that I really liked out of that entire movie. And that's pretty much about it. And also, my son enjoys watching this movie. He does. I love the movie for what it does for my son, but I don't love the movie myself. It's not something that I'm crazy about. I don't hate it, but it's just not that good. So anyway, folks, I'm out of here. I'm done. It's over. It's time to retire for a little bit, and then I'll be back. But thank you so much for watching. For those of you who stayed through and watched me in my entirety, I could stand up and show you my entirety, but I'll get kicked off of YouTube. So, and yeah, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just like distracted. This is what I'm distracted by this dust here. It's dust on my keyboard. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I just thank you so much for watching. I will be back soon. I've been so busy with a lot of things, but good things, positive things. So, but I just want to say to those of you who have been writing to me, posting your comments on my Facebook, Instagram, my Twitter. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome and starting discussions and all of this stuff. And I have fun, going back and forth and just talking nerd shit with you guys. And I'm on a, forum, just endlessly talking until 2 a.m. I'm sleeping and shit. And I'm like, no, man. I'm like, that was stupid Han Solo running through a lightsaber. We just talk about all kinds of shit, man. It's just fun. You guys are awesome. I'm interactive with everyone, so feel free to ask away. Feel free to comment. Even if you want to comment and tell me to go fuck myself, go ahead and do so there. So yeah, it's do with what you will. But anyway, I'll be back soon. I'm going to take off. I'm really tired. I'm hungry, and yeah. So, anyways. All right, folks. I'll see you next time. Till then, I'm out. Peace.